The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Matthew. As Jesus was walking by the Sea of Galilee, he saw two brothers, Simon, who was called Peter, and his brother Andrew. They were making a cast in the lake with their net, for they were fishermen. And he said to them, "Follow me, and I will make you fishers of men." And they left their nets at once and followed him. Going on from there, he saw another pair of brothers, James, son of Zebedee, and his brother John. They were in their boats with their father Zebedee, mending their nets, and he called them. At once, leaving the boats and their father, they followed him. The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
When you come to think about this story in details, the more we listen to the story, the more we lose the sense of wonder. But if you go back to that sense of wonder and try to imagine what it could be like that Jesus is just passing, is a complete stranger, they have never found him, they have never seen him anywhere, and then he just tells them, "Come, I make you fishers of men." And then they leave everything, they leave the nets, and they followed him. And then moving on away from that, he found James and his brother John with their father. They were mending their nets, they were busy when he met them. And he just said, "Follow me." And they left their father, they left their nets, they left the boats, and they followed him. Immediately, not saying, I come to understand what you mean, and then I follow you. They left everything and they followed him. So just imagine that happening today. There's a complete stranger is passing in front of the formation house or in front of your house and tells your son or your daughter, "Follow me." And he just gets up and starts following. The first thing will come to your mind is that your son or your daughter or you yourself has been hypnotized. Or secondly, that this person is using witchcraft. And if you have the number of the police, I'm sure you are going to call immediately to come and arrest this strange fellow who has just come and is commanding people to follow. But that is in reality what happened. Jesus did not hypnotize them. There was nothing that happened apart from those words of Jesus, "Follow me." And then something happened. And they realized that Jesus was more valuable than any other thing they could ever do. Remember, they had been fishermen from the time they were young people, I'm sure. And that was their source of income. That was all that they had to live on. And they left that and they followed him. Remember, they followed Jesus not because Jesus promised them any good life. He doesn't promise them that he's going to reward them after 1 year. He didn't promise them of any allowance that they will receive. In fact, the gospel tells us that they relied on the contribution of the ladies. People like Mary Magdalene, even, and other ladies who were following them, they would get a few fruits and everything and things like that, and they would rely on that for food. Remember, Peter had a family. At least we know that from the healing of Peter's mother-in-law. So he had a wife and a family. He had a trade. He was a fisherman. And he had to leave that. He had to abandon that to follow Jesus. Think about James and John. They left even their father, their family, and they followed him. And we think about ourselves. Now, if people like that, James and John and Andrew, whose feast day we celebrate today, who left everything and he followed Jesus, if we try to bring that today, is that really possible? And we realize the more the world is advancing, it becomes so difficult even to let go of the little things. Now, if I were to say the students in the formation house to let go of their phone for a day, for one day, a phone, to say there will be no Facebook today, there will be no internet, I am sure there will be a revolution. Or to say we are going to cut internet just for 1 week. It is not easy, even for me, to work without internet. If you think about some of the things that you are so attached to, if they were to say that you let that go for a day, how possible is that? And today is not only about letting go of the things that we like, but also letting go of some of the things that have become an obstacle to us following Jesus. Because by virtue of our baptism, we are all called to follow him. He says, he calls each one of us by name, and that is why we are given a baptismal name. They say, Tony, I baptize you in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. In that way, Jesus knows you by that name, and he calls each and every one of us, and he invites us to follow him. But of course, as we grow up, they become a lot of obstacles that prevent us from following him. A lot of things that are making us now maybe not to pray. A lot of things that are making us not to seek to know him more. Maybe our own addictions, the things that we hold on to all the time. Maybe our own sinfulness. It might even be pornography. It might be some friends that you feel you are so attached to that you can't let go of them, and they become an obstacle. Think of the different things. I don't want to start to name them, but I'm sure you know there are those things that you choose over prayer, the things that you choose over adoration, the things that you choose to do over reading your scriptures. What are those things? And Jesus is inviting us every day. It's not only once, he does that every day. In the Eucharist, in the liturgy of the word, he invites us to come to him. How ready are we? How ready are we to let go of the nets? Something that we are used to all our lives. Something that we have become used to because we are so addicted to it that we have forgotten even that it's sinful. Things that we hold on to. How ready are we to let go of those things? Remember, James and John, they left even their father, they even left their family, and they followed him. And Jesus calls us to himself, and he wants us to follow him immediately, not later. Remember in Luke chapter 9, where one of the disciples was invited and he said, Lord, I will follow you, but let me go and bury my father. And he said, no, it has to be now. Lord, I will follow you, but let me go and say goodbye to my parents and my family. No, you have to come now. If you have put your hand on the plow and looks back, anyone who puts his hand on the plow and looks back is not worthy of me. My dear brothers and sisters, there are things that each and every one of us, not excluding anyone, all of us, there are things that we have to let go of. What are those things? Let us ask the intercession of Saint Andrew that our eyes may be opened, that we may be able to see those things that have become obstacles to us saying yes to Jesus.